What up, man? It's your big brother K-Rino. K-Rino. Um, as y'all can see, back on my regularly scheduled time frame, hitting y'all on this Friday night, about 9 something my time. Don't know what time it is in your part of the world, unless you're on the East Coast. I know it's 10:25 on the West Coast. I know it's 7:25. Outside of that, not too sure if you're in another country or something. Um, Do your big brother a favor as you enter the room. Hit that like button for your brother. As soon as y'all walk in the door, I want y'all to just hit that like button. Just go on and give me some love on that like button. And basically what that does, because people say, man, we're trying to hit the like button. It just helps with the exposure of the video. There's a thing called an algorithm, and the more likes you get, it increases your chances of being visible randomly, I guess, by people watching. This title, man, we're gonna try to go in a little deeper on this title to get some understanding of what it is we're trying to get some understanding on, and that is perspective. And the reason why I went to this topic is because in the unfortunate, unexpected passing of Kevin Samuels, um, I, like everybody else, have been noticing the different opinions and the different types of comments that are being left in the time frame since he's passed away. There have been a lot of good complimentary comments, people who were very sad, people who were very remorseful and offering condolences. People are shocked, hurt, feeling bad. And then there are other people who are very celebratory. There are people who seem to be very happy, that the brother has transitioned, and because they were not fans of his content and they were not fans of, I guess, his style. So what that brings me to the conclusion of is that you have an individual, like many individuals before him, he's not the first or the last. You have an individual who is what is referred to as a polarizing figure. Polarizing just means that he's an individual who you either love him or you hate him. You're on one side of the pole or the other side of the pole. So he's very polarizing. And we see different people throughout history like that. Some athletes are like that. You love him or you hate. You either love LeBron or you hate LeBron. People loved Muhammad Ali or they hated Muhammad Ali. And it was all a matter of perspective. Politicians the same way. You had people that loved Donald Trump. You got other people who hated Donald Trump. Same thing with the current dude that's in there. And all of these things are a matter of perspective. So for those who may not know, I didn't go to the dictionary on this one. I just went with what my own definition of perspective is. I would like if somebody would go to the dictionary to get the actual definition to put it down. But all perspective is, to me, of course, is the way you view a thing. But that would be the base definition. It's the way you view a thing. When you look at an object, when you analyze a person, the character of a person, when you hear a quote or read a quote from a person, when you look at a picture, you hear a sound bite, you develop a perspective, you develop a viewpoint of what those things mean to you. So it's a personal perspective, but really what it is a mental interpretation of something or someone. You have thought it through. Well, you may not have thought it all the way through, but you thought about it and you have created and developed a mental interpretation. You have interpreted to your own, in your own view, what that either means or your opinion of it, good or bad. So the reason why I'm doing this topic is because I just came to my own little thought process that perspective is one of the things that we absolutely, is naturally in us, and we have a right to form our perspective, just like an opinion. But it has also become something that has been the cause of great division among people. People are heavily divided over different perspectives. So I mentioned certain individuals. I mentioned Muhammad Ali because if you got an individual like a Muhammad Ali who, when he came along, he was brash, he was cocky, confident, he would brag, and he would trash talk his opponent. He would trash talk. He did not capitulate to the norms of how the media says that athletes should conduct themselves in interviews. He wasn't just straight, well, I'm going to come out and fight and do my best. And he wasn't bootlicking the establishment. And as a result of that, people did not like him, especially in the 60s when black people were really expected to take a lesser role, to bow down and just kind of play that role of shut up and just be glad we gave you an opportunity. So a lot of people hated him because of his talk. Now, on the flip side of that, it was a whole lot of people who loved the fact that he was like that. They loved that his personality was like that. They loved that he stood up to the establishment and he would tell the interviewers, well, man, you don't run me. You don't tell me how to think. You don't. There are people who love that because they viewed the one thing from two different perspectives. And a lot of times perspective is centered around your own conditions at the time. The way your thoughts may have already been shaped at the time. So if you're a person who's come up in a struggle, you felt the strong grip of oppression around your neck. Then somebody comes out and they speak against that oppression and they do it in a bold manner, then you lean towards that individual like, okay, that's my man right there. I rock with him. I rock with her. See, this topic ain't gonna be a popular one because it's something that's got to kind of make us think and process and all that. So this ain't gonna be a popular one because I ain't talking about celebrities who whatever, dropping it like it's hot or twerking or smoking dope. And I ain't talking about nothing messy and gossipy and controversy. So people don't want to really get down to the nitty gritties, but that's fine. But when you have individuals like that, it creates division because we're gonna take our side, they're gonna take their side, and now it goes from us seeing it on a big stage to us arguing about it at work, arguing about it at home, arguing about it at school, arguing about it on social media, because we are all trying to impose our views and our perspectives on the other people. See? So when you think about Kevin Samuels, right? He was a polarizing brother. He was a polarizing figure. Let's just call it for what it is. A lot of women didn't like him because they viewed him to be demeaning and disrespectful towards women. A lot of men loved him because they felt that he spoke to a plight and a struggle that they believe that a lot of men go through that traditionally has been unaddressed. And there were a lot of sisters who did like it. And there were a lot of women who may not have liked him or disliked him, but they gravitated towards him. See, you ever had a person that just like they're described as somebody that you love to hate, and then you have some people that you hate to love. There are guilty pleasures. There are TV shows and songs that just like, I don't know why I keep listening to that song. You claim you don't like it, but you keep watching it. You keep listening to it. So they call it a guilty pleasure. So what we got to understand, and as it relates to the word perspective, is gaining the understanding of other people's perspectives, even if we don't agree. Now, the question is a perspective and an opinion the same thing? Nah, it's not the same thing. There's similarities in it, but it's not the same thing. And to understand and really get a grasp of understanding somebody else's perspective, respecting it, is to just simply listen. And listen to the person to figure out why they view this thing the way they view it. So if I'm having a conversation with an atheist, if there's an individual who says, you know what, I don't believe in God, I don't think there's no such thing as a God, and blah, blah, and whatever. The first emotion that would come up typically in a religious person, or typically in a person who may not call themselves religious, but they may be believers in a creator and a higher power, the first response might be an emotional one. The first response might be emotional. You might get offended because you are looking at what I know, what God did for me. Man, I know what God did for me. How can you say that it ain't no God? How can you fix your mouth to say that, man, God made you, God created you? And he's like, oh. So once you get ramped up and get angered and get emotional, then you have immediately blocked your own ability to look at their perspective or to find out why they think and believe the way they think and believe. So the first step would be to say, okay, that's interesting. Why do you believe that there's not a God? Why are you an atheist? Just give me the backstory. And a lot of times when people explain their backstory or they kind of give you the reason, when you sit down and listen, you might go, oh, okay, I see how you got to that point, to that place. Doesn't mean that I agree, but now I've listened to you. I've kind of been invited into your journey, and now I can understand where you're coming from and how you got to that point. See? And I've used this example before. See, somebody say, hey man, when I was 8 years old, man, my mama was sick. And I prayed that my mama was gonna make it. I ask God every night, please let my mama make it. Please let my mama make it. And my mama died anyway. And right there, I knew it wasn't no God, because why would he let my mama die? I'm a little boy. I'm 8 years old. So that, okay, I get it now. Because a lot of times in our own immaturity, and when I say immaturity, I'm not saying that from a negative standpoint. I mean just the lack of development and worldly understanding. That's an immaturity that we have early on, and that we go through life having, because you'll never understand the fullness and the totality of this creation. So in our immaturity, there are things that happen to a lot of people that we just don't understand. So we just dismiss it as God don't love me. Oh man, this BS. Oh, this bunch of lies. This a bunch of thing. So when you take time to listen to why somebody, even in a criminal case, man, even in a criminal case, and I'm not condoning no wrong, don't think I am, but you look at a person who's in court for just killing some people and say, man, this dude is a horrible man. This terrible, horrible person, man. Killed them people like that. Oh my gosh, what a terrible, horrible. And then you hear their backstory, and you find out that this person has had a childhood that consisted of some of the most horrific things that was done to this person as a child, and the trauma that that person experienced, and all of the hell that that young child went through before he turned 10 years old, and things that may have set him on a road to doing what he eventually ended up doing, right? So even though you know, okay, well, he still knew better to do what he had to do, and he still got to pay for what he did. At the very least, you can now go, well, okay, I understand why and how he ended up like he ended up. See, perspective creates the difference between a hero and an enemy. It creates the difference between a patriot and a traitor. See? It creates all kind of differences based on what the eye of an individual sees and what the ear of an individual hears, and how they, what I said earlier, interpret it. So Kevin Samuels, his delivery, his presentation rubbed a lot of women the wrong way, rubbed a lot of men the wrong way. So now people are saying, oh, that's what he get. See how that comes back around. See how that karma comes back and hit him. See, that's what it is. Now he got his. He talked about all. I ain't touching that. Not my place to judge anybody, and it's definitely not my place to stand to not literally but figuratively stand over somebody's casket going, yeah, see, yeah. You just standing over that person's casket right now. Because no matter what kind of hatred you may have had, what kind of animosity and resentment you may have had towards that individual, nothing you say now can affect him. It did not affect him during life. It definitely does not affect him now. So now it becomes a waste of your time to continue to spout it out. So we learn a lot about people when they are mad, when they are disappointed about something, when they're angry, when they're frustrated, and when they are in positions of power. When somebody got the ups on you in some capacity, you learn about them. But when somebody is upset and mad, you really get a kind of a glimpse, or sometimes a full grasp of that aspect of their character, because it's like, whoa, he or she really reacted to that. They really reacted to that pretty strong. That struck a nerve. And some things can be relegated to just us saying, hey, well, man, if it don't apply to you, if he ain't talking to you personally, don't watch it. Why would you be offended? If you walking down the street and somebody go, hey, stupid, you might turn around just to see who's saying it, but you know they're not talking about you. So even if they looking at you going, hey, stupid, the wise thing would be to just go and keep on walking. Not, man, who you calling stupid, man? You talking to me? You calling me stupid, man? I ain't stupid, man. You know you're not stupid. Keep going. Unless he comes into your space, then that's a different conversation. But when people get upset, man, we have a tendency to not be able to let it go, even all the way into the grave. Can't let it go. Ex-husband died 25 years ago. Still talking crazy about the man or the woman. Can't let it go. It's like, man. See? Somebody did something to you in the 3rd grade. You see him now. Y'all 47 years old. Oh, man, I don't mess with him, man. That dude stole your marbles in the 3rd grade, bro. That was 40 years ago. So you still bitter. And the bitterness only serves to affect you in a negative way. Don't affect the person you mad at or bitter with. Sometimes they don't even know. You ain't seen them in 20 years. Yeah, I don't never forget what you did, man. Like, what did I do? You knew I wanted to take Felicia to the prom, man, and you asked her. You asked her to go to the prom. You knew I wanted to take her to the prom. Like, dude, man, that was 30 years ago. You still think about Felicia? But that bitterness, man, and it comes out in moments like this. Everybody don't go to a funeral to pay their respects. Some people go to a funeral just to get satisfaction. That's just how they feel. We got to be bigger than that. We got to grow out of that, because perspectives cause division. And that's cool if the division is only meaning that we are divided in our viewpoints and just the opinions of it, and we leave it at that point. Not to the point where it becomes detrimental, where we ready to fight, argue, and kill to an extreme level like that. It's no problem if I say, well, man, we just don't agree on that, man. All right, that's cool. All right. You want to play ball today? All right, I'll see you up there. We just don't agree on that. That's fine. But to take it beyond because of your personal beef that you had with a person, and now you have made that perspective based on one aspect of that person's life that you get to see. You don't know the totality of that person. You don't know the other things that that person may do or have done. You didn't know that the person may have been a very charitable individual that gave money. You don't know that the person may have fed the homeless and worked with youth in the community and, you know, just done a lot of good things under the radar, because that wasn't the side that he presented or she presented. It's like, I'm showing you this, and certain things are for business and entertainment purposes only. So we say these negative things about people based on that perspective because we drew that from that aspect of what we saw, and we don't consider, man, she had 4 children. Now her children got to hear all these people talking about how their mama was a hoe. That's what she get because she used to be in them strip clubs. She was a hoe. But she ain't doing that. She wasn't doing that no more. She had transitioned out of that. And even if she didn't, now these children got to go to school. They got to deal with that. Her parents got to hear and read all this stuff that these people are talking about and hear all this negativity coming at them, right? Never taken into account, talking to the people that do these types of things and say these types of things, particularly about the dead. Never taken into account a couple of things. Number one, that's a road that everybody gonna travel one day, including you. So you're talking as if this is never gonna happen to you. Number two, you're speaking about an individual who left loved ones behind, who knew them in a different way, not thinking about the fact that, well, what if somebody was talking about your mama like that? What if somebody was going in on your grandma like that? Because guess what? Your sweet, loving grandmother, your happy-go-lucky granddaddy who always reached in his pocket and gave some change, and it was people that didn't like them while they were living. It was people who viewed them or may have viewed them as being just the worst of the worst. You knew them the way you knew them. And your view and perspective of them was based on how they treated you. So it all comes sit on grandpa's lap. Oh, yeah, grandpa just love you so much. But you ain't know back in the days, grandpa used to rob people. You know, back in the days, grandpa might have used to slap women around at one point. Might have changed his life. Mama might have had to do some things and pay the bills once or twice. Might have stunted on somebody just to get by. That person that they got stunted on, they never forgot it. They know who did it. Then mama grows and becomes a better person and changes their life and becomes a productive citizen. And now mama's running for city council and speaking before communities. And that same person who mama pulled them stunts on back in the day, 25 years ago, they watching TV like, man, she ain't nothing but a fraud. Because they are locked in what happened to them by that person that they're looking at right now, that you view as an angel. It's perspective. So then something happens and that person transitions, you can't understand, and you hear somebody talking what you believe to be reckless about that person that in your mind is just upstanding, you ready to fight and kill. So we got to be able to start getting to a point. I want to shout out to Jimi Hendrix. Appreciate the love, Jimmy. And to Hector G, I appreciate y'all. I saw y'all. I was just running my mouth. We got to get to a point where if we are dealing with people that we know personally, we got to get to a point where we can start listening to their reasoning and rationale as to why they feel a certain way and try to gain understanding through listening, right? And if it's somebody we don't know, if we are individuals who like to stay connected to the lives of celebrities and what celebrities are doing, and then we like to immerse ourselves in that, and then something happens, we have to do the same thing. We have to vet and sift through the whole story as much as we can to gain an understanding that will give us an opportunity to properly shape a respectful perspective. And guess what? If we are unable to form a respectful perspective, then he said, man, I couldn't find no good in it. I just couldn't find no good in it, man. And the person transitions, passes away, leave it alone, man. Leave it alone. Don't spit on nobody's grave, man. Don't spit on nobody's grave. Because I just told you the difference between a hero and an enemy. And it creates more division. See what y'all talking about, man. J.R. Hendry said, compassion is missing in our community. And yeah, it is, man. It is, because like I said on the video I made earlier today, man, at some point, every game reaches its end. First quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. At some point, the game is over. At some point, Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier, they couldn't box each other no more, man. And a lot of the things they said about each other, a lot of the hatred that they had for each other, it festered over years and years. But at some point, they came together as old men, and they embraced, and they sat together, and they let that stuff go. Now, like I said in the video today, I'm not necessarily I'm talking about on a basic interpersonal level, the people that we deal with on a daily basis. And, you know, I'm not talking about the full-blown enemy. So let me clarify that now to make it be understood that I ain't on no turn the other cheek towards no full-blown enemy, man. You know, a government that's trying to depopulate and kill us in all different forms and fashions and oppressive manners. No, I have no remorse for those individuals, man. I just got to be real. But even to that degree, when the deed is done, even when they are removed from the planet, it would do me no good to steady be running around and talking about, yeah, man, that's what they. It's time to it's work to do. Time to rebuild. That's an immature approach. So one way to combat that, and on our personal levels, I ain't talking about the real enemy, the big enemy. when you look at people and you deal with certain people, man, try to find some level of good in those people, even after they're gone. Don't go to the first negative things or what the news may put out about a person, because typically the news will try to go into the dark side of that person. Well, in 2013, he was arrested on a drug charge and then he went to rehab for you. They try to go into all your negative stuff. Let's wire ourselves up to go for the positive things, the good things, and to get past the layers of negativity that may be openly visible, but they are not what we're looking for. They are not the things that will give us understanding of who the person really was on a good level, because those layers are just like certain foods. If you go to the store and you buy a banana, you don't just bite right into the banana, bite all through the banana peel and the little hard part where you don't eat that part. You peel that part off. And when you peel that part off, there's the banana. That's the part you want, the good part. You got an onion. That little top little part of the onion that feel like paper coming across. You don't eat that. You peel that off. You cut that and you peel it off. You break that loose. You get through the layers of the unwanted material to get to what can nourish you. So if you pull some of the good aspects of a person out, that's what you want to nourish you. Even if the person who's perfect, who do you know? Who did you ever hang out with that was perfect? What angel did you ever walk with? So anybody that came and went, anybody that's still here right now, you can look at him and say, well, yeah, that's my boy, man. You know, he cool as a fan. Good people, man. Is he perfect? Nah, he ain't perfect. That's my boy. I know him. He know me. We're not perfect. But we can focus on and dwell on the best part of people and combat and balance off any negative talk that people might come with. They'll be like, you know what, man, that Negro, man, yeah, but he also, man, he was a good father, man. He did this and he did that, man. He helped me one time. I was in a bind, man. He looked out. So I can't just let you just slide him like that. So the misinterpretations or the interpretations in general create perspective. Somebody send you an email or something or a text message or something, and you read it, and you feel some kind of way about it, so you call them. I mean, what you mean by that, man? What I just said? Because you took it the wrong way. You pull something out of how you felt it was written that made it feel like some kind of attack on you. See? And they didn't even mean it like that. You took it the wrong way. We got to understand words, the meaning of words, how to use words properly, and not let our emotions block our understanding. We get blinded by the emotion to where it blocks understanding. Understanding can't even get in the door because we so aggravated, we don't even give it a chance. So there is no understanding. We hear what we want to hear. We pick and choose what we want to use in order to bolster our own arguments, because all we thinking about in a moment is trying to win an argument. You're not listening. See? You're not listening, man. But if we take the time to listen, we'll get a lot more out of it, man. And it requires humility to do that. You got to be humble to when you really mad and really emotional in a moment. And all of a sudden, you can go, you know what? Okay, you go ahead, you talk. I'm going to listen. You just bring yourself all the way down. I'm going to listen, you talk. And then you truly listen. You don't just wait for a moment to jump in and no, just jump right back in and start like you're not listening. And not just listen to what people say. Not just listen to the word, yeah, I hear you, I hear you, I hear you, I hear you, I hear you. Try to get an understanding of why they feel the way they feel, of why. Why can solve a lot of problems. Why can solve a lot of problems. Not necessarily what. What just basically just shows you and tells you what is. But why is the key. Okay, so why do you feel that way? I feel that way because you never did so. Then you go, okay, well, okay. Even if you don't agree. But we have to be humble to do that, man. We got to put our own ego to the side. I know you're mad. I'll be mad too. But you got to let people get it out. And if you do that with an open mind, you will be able to understand their perspective, taking the time to see it from their point of view. Don't mean you agree. I just see it. I see what you see now. I see why you feel that way now. I get it. Okay, I get it. Maybe we can build on it from that point. Once I see why you think like that. Somebody might have told you something that I said and it wasn't even true. And you've been feeling that kind of way about me all this time. And then I find that out. And then you're like, wait a minute, I never said that. Well, such and such said that you said, no, I didn't say that. Call him. You square it off. Oh, okay. It's all kind of scenarios. Justin Tuck said, the what is objective. That's the easy part. Why is subjective. That's where the battle really is. Why? That's where the battle really is. And it's not easy to do. Appreciate the love, Jimmy. I see you. What's up, my brother? Perspective divides us. That one word divides nations. That's why black people can watch a police officer killing another black person, an unarmed black person, and we like up in arms and outraged and mad. And then if there are white people who live in the suburbs who don't really grasp our reality and what we've been going through dealing with police officers on a daily basis, they've never encountered this type of oppression, then they look at it like, well, he had to be doing something wrong. It's perspective. Payable on Death said religion too. Absolutely. I mentioned religion earlier. Same thing. People are divided in religion because of perspective, because of my definition of perspective, like I said, is just a mental interpretation. So you see something in one way and you interpret it in a certain way, And I see the same thing. Again, that's an experiment. 20 people can look at the same thing and be asked to describe it, and you may get 15 or 20 different descriptions or views or assessments of that one thing. Same picture, same phrase. What did this phrase mean to you? They put a phrase up on the screen. What did this phrase mean to you? And everybody start writing it down. You're going to get different angles from different people, different opinions and viewpoints from different people. So people are dying behind their perspective. Dude rushed the stage on Dave Chappelle because obviously he had a problem with Dave Chappelle's perspective on certain topics because his was different. So now it becomes a danger zone. Now you got to start being prepared to defend yourself physically because somebody may look at how you view something as being threatening to them or disrespectful to them personally or to their group, and they feel like the ramifications or any ramifications may trickle down to them as individuals because you're attacking my perspective, you're attacking my group, the group that I belong to. And you have a name, you have power, you have influence that if that influence trickles down, it may put me in a bad place. What you think goes on with these rappers? Or anybody who speaks truth to power, who speaks against injustice, same thing goes on. There are individuals who look at it and say, this is a threat to our dominance. This is a threat to our establishment. This person has power and influence. These people listen to this person, and if this person's perspective is allowed to rain down, it's going to align other perspectives in similar form and become a threat to us. It's the world we living in. It's the world we've always lived in. Shout out to Jimi Hendrix again, and shout out to QV for the love and for the donations, man. I appreciate y'all. See? And then people start to lay out their viewpoints of it. Then somebody else comes, well, no, that's not what it means. Somebody, no, well, that's not what it means, and that's not what it means, and that's not what, and now you got a bunch of people in the room babbling. Because everybody wants to impose their viewpoint on everybody else. I'm right, so I'm gonna impose my right. I'm gonna tell you why you wrong. And I'm gonna tell you why you wrong. I'm gonna start off by telling you you wrong. So that's already puts me on the defensive. Man, you wrong. What you mean I'm wrong? Now I'm not hearing nothing you say because I might be wrong. But now I've blocked it out because my emotions have kicked in because of the way you presented it to me. You came at me like I was nothing. See? So you want to impose it on me in a forceful way instead of, if you really feel like I need to know what it is that you have in your mind and that it can help me. See, love is not just it's gonna beat you down with it. If you really are that person who wants to spread the good word, you have to do it in a fashion that the people will receive it the right way. Let me see what y'all talking about. Justin said, I think it's fine to have different perspectives, but when people wish harm or harm others based on their perspectives is damaging. Long as their perspective isn't harmful to you, agree to disagree. That's it. That's it in a nutshell. That sums it all up. That sums it up. But unfortunately, we live in a time where, like I said the other day, we're living in the time of extreme, heightened sensitivity on multiple issues. Extreme, heightened sensitivity to where if this is your ideology, if this is your viewpoint, if this is what you stand on, it doesn't even take an attack for you to flip out. All it takes is a differing of opinion on it. Well, nah, man, I really don't agree with that lifestyle, man. Oh man, they just lose their mind. That's the day we living in. Got to be able to value the learnings of respect. John said that. Dollar bill. Dollar bill, y'all. Dollar bill, y'all. Alex J, first time ever catching one of your lives. Much love from a kid who grew up in Houston's Fifth Ward. Fifth Ward. Much love to you, man. Appreciate that, Alex. Straight out the nickel. See? Perspective is mental interpretation. It's just how you mentally process and interpret a thing or a person or an action. Raphael, the badass boss. Where you live, who you are, and how you are affected. And those things play a role, man, in how you view the world, man. Your reality, your everyday reality shapes how you look at things. It's like I was talking about with the police. When black folks see the police, it's a different mindset. We like, uh-oh. Hey man, turn that way, go down the back street. You ain't did nothing wrong. You got everything, all your stuff straight. But it's a different perspective. We view them from a different perspective. Spirit optimist, I see you. Calculus says it ain't where you come from that defines you. It's where you're going to that. Well, you know, I mean, it may not 100% define you because it's a big world, but it absolutely plays a role in how you see the world, how you see things. See, if you grew up in the hood all your life, man, it don't matter where you go. It's certain things that you will see and your hood experiences and your hood senses kick in and be like, hey man, why old boy just standing over there looking like that? Oh no, man, that's the neighborhood watch guy. He's always, oh, okay, all right. You know, we see things different, and different things mean different things to us. That's that perspective. See? So while it doesn't 1000% define who you are, where you come from, doesn't define 100% where you are, but it definitely is the starting point and the initial shaping ground for how you think. It's the same, it would in the opposite if that was an individual who just grew up sheltered, grew up just oblivious to any type of problems and oppression and money issues and struggle, and they just never endured or encountered any of that. They can't grasp what it's like to see somebody budgeting $20 because they got to last them through the whole week. You're like, man, why you hold on to the 20, man? Go ahead and, hey, man, I got this 20 got to last me to Friday. Today's Sunday. Dustin Schlosser says, stop voting. Voting is another thing, man. It's divided us because we have different perspectives on certain candidates. And there are certain things that we want from these candidates. And we feel like this one can give us this, and somebody else feels like that one can give us that. And my perspective is on none of them give us nothing, except to who they want to give it to. They look out for their own. They look out for the rich. What up, Sarah? Yeah, that's called being a product of your environment, like Jimmy said. Shalom, David. I don't just do these topics just to be doing them, man. It's because I see something and I hear something and I feel like I want to try to address it. I may not address it in its most perfect form, but I know where I'm trying to go with it. I know the message that I'm trying to relay. And I hope that in whatever time I take to try to relay it, that it gets through, it connects. See? What if the product of the environment becomes the solution? The product of the environment can become the solution. That's a good question, 2.0. Because, see, being a product of your environment is not always a bad thing. Because the environment can produce a bad product or can produce a good product, a product that can be produced to fix the problems of said environment. See, that is what prophets do. God raises up prophets among the people who are being oppressed, who are struggling, the people who are wicked and sinful, and he raises up prophets among the people. The prophet comes up in the same environment where the madness, where it's popping off at. See? So the prophet understands all of the ills of the society because he comes up right around it. But he's born to not necessarily fix it, but he's born to warn the people and tell the people what's going to happen if it don't get fixed. And along the way, the prophet may pick up, individuals may latch on to the prophet, and the prophet may teach and raise up people for the better along the way. How many people have you seen? I don't care what it is. I'll bring it down to where we at. How many athletes have you seen that came up in the hood, came up in the projects, then they made it out through their gift of athleticism. They came back and they fixed up the hood, bought up at parts of the hood that they lived in, made it better. How many rappers have you seen do it? But these are things they don't like to talk about because they always want to talk about the rappers who got in trouble, the rappers who got killed, the rappers who was on dope, the rappers who this or this or that. But they don't talk about the rapper, the athletes like LeBron, build a school. Mutombo went back to his native country and built hospitals. Akon did the same thing, built up whole communities like that. The Nation of Islam, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Minister Farrakhan, they don't talk about that. They want to focus on what they want to point out and to believe or make people to believe, they don't even believe it, to make people believe that these are bad men. But many people come back and make their neighborhoods better. Charles Woodson built the hospital. That's what's up. I didn't know that. See? That's my point. So they create a perspective. They shape. See, your perspective can actually be intentionally shaped by outside hands. Our perspective is not always our own. It can be made. It can be made for us to we can be made to believe it's our own. You know, they talk about certain individuals. You play the Jedi mind trick on them, or you can do something, or you can speak to individuals in a way. The power of suggestion is what they call it, to where you can use the power of suggestion to speak something in such a way to make the person you're talking to think that it's their idea, but it's really you. It's really your idea. You just, in a conniving way, got them to believe it was their idea. So they did exactly what you wanted them to do. That's what this hidden hand has the power to do. It's the power of suggestion, and it's the ability to have your perspective formed for you by an outside source. So they can paint a picture of something that you see. They can describe it how they want you to look at it. So we got 9/11. 9/11 happens, tragic event. Major news channels paint the picture that, hey, America was attacked by outside terrorists from the Middle East. They are a threat to our freedom and a threat to our democracy. And this is something that should scare you. So they shaped your perspective. They made you form an opinion. They formed an opinion for you, scared you. So now the Muslims in the Middle East are the enemies. Muslim walking to Walmart. Oh, they're gonna blow up Walmart. They formed that perspective. You never took the time to figure out what you saw when you looked at that situation. But the wise people among us did. And it's, whoa, wait a minute. This looks like an inside job. The evidence points to being the opposite of what the news is saying it is. They have shaped your perspective. And you find out all the details of this stuff, and you're like, wow. You ever notice how almost every other leader of foreign nations, almost everyone, and I say almost because, that doesn't include America's allies, but if you notice that almost every leader of foreign nations gets described by the US government and by American media as being evil dictators. Evil dictators. See? And we sit there and go, yeah, he's an evil dictator. How you know? Well, they just said it. They just said it. They're an evil dictator because there was something that the United States wanted them to do or give that they didn't want to do or give. So now, okay, we made a decision that we're going to come in and take what we want But before we take what we want, we got to paint the picture. We have to create a false perception of you in the eyes of the American citizens in order for them to look at what we getting ready to do and say, yeah, that needed to happen. Yeah, that's right. We did the right thing. Man, this is a intricately crafted game. Dr. Naka, what it is, man. Calculus says, I hear you, K-Rino. It's all about perspectives. The very ones, the so-called hood, are the very people God has called me to lead into his kingdom. There it is. Who did Jesus hang with? Was Jesus hanging out with all the preachers and the so-called righteous people, or was he down there with, Jesus was in the hood. Jesus was in the hood. So let's bring it back to us, man, before I wrap it up. Let us focus on taking time to patiently look at things from other people's point of view, the best we can. You might still come to the conclusion that, nah, I still don't ride with it. I still don't agree with it. But at least take the opportunity, the time out to just let me see what you're talking about. Because once we kind of lock in how we feel about something, we normally don't get off of it. We stay on it. When there are multiple angles, just like they say there are two sides to every story, sometimes three, there are multiple angles that a thing can be viewed from. So and it's also possible for two or more things to be right at the same time. So while you may be right, you may be viewing something accurately, it doesn't mean that somebody else's view is wrong either. Or you may be viewing it totally wrong. So you have to have the humility to accept correction. See? Or if you come to the fork in the road, hey, I see it this way, you see it that way, it's what it is. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. If that man loved the way his woman looked, it ain't your place to be, oh my gosh, like, what is he seeing? What are we seeing? What do you see in her? Like, what does she see in him? Man, it ain't your place. She see what she see. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. That's perspective. One man's trash is another man's treasure. That's perspective. The thing that you throw away and leave on your curb for the trash to pick up, somebody gonna pass by in a car and go, whoa, oh, man, look at this, man. They gonna love it. They gonna take it home and fix it up. Drop y'all locations, man. OV says, okay, who would you say are our nowadays prophets as you see it? Well, it's no more prophets, OV. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said it's no more prophets. Prophet Muhammad was the seal of the prophets. But the Creator always sends messengers. He sends warners to the people. So America, being what we believe to be the most insane in the membrane, craziest, wickedest nation that ever existed in life, in the history of life, it would only make sense that there would be a warner or messenger or both in this time and among this people, just like it was in the days of Noah and Moses and whoever else you want to name. So I'm of the belief that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is the messenger of Allah, which means God. So don't get scared. And on the departure of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he had raised up and trained the Honorable Master Louis Farrakhan, who's still with us on the scene now, but for how long? So we're not walking around here without any messengers and warners in our midst. We just are falling in the same line of the people that lived before us, where we had prophets and messengers among us, but the majority, the masses of the people, didn't accept them as that, didn't recognize them as that. See? And those who knew that they were that, those in power, the governments of that day, and in this day all the way in the current day, who knew who they were, worked all the time to destroy them by destroying their name, slandering their name, discrediting their works, putting a spin on their words, turning the people against them. So history just repeats itself. So the books say light shine in the darkness, but the darkness comprehended it not. So it's light in the darkness. There's teachers and warners among us who represent that light. But we are the darkness of mind. We comprehended it not. Right in our face and didn't know it. People that lived in the time of Jesus, that they didn't even know it. See y'all drop y'all locations, man. Hogback, New Mexico. Man, that's a new one. America became powerful by oppression, just like Babylon. Yeah, but come on, man. You teaching. This is the modern day Babylon. The Bible talks about a mystery Babylon. Why they put mystery in front of it? Because it's not talking about ancient Babylon, historic Babylon. It ain't talking about this. It's talking about a Babylon, a mystery Babylon that goes by a different name that's not in that book. What's up, Zoaji? Mendocino, North Carolina, California. I hope I said that right. Nashville, Tennessee. London. What's up, Tusk Mob? MOB. East Texas. The Yay area. St. Louis. Montgomery, Texas. Abdul Aziz. I keep my globe back there for y'all flat earthers to put y'all in y'all feelings. That's why I keep my globe back there. Man, you a Muslim and you think the earth is flat? Dallas, Texas up in this thing. Jimmy on them train tracks, man. Yeah. Hey, man, I hope y'all got something out of this message, man. I appreciate the love. Peace.